Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and thanks for the response from my last video. I got some good feedback from the place at Glenalba, where everybody went and had a nice dig, and someone found a 17 carat greeny yellow, and I picked up a green and a blue when I was out there walking around. It was a wonderful day to see people out here. So this here is the concentrate. So 10 barrels of dirt, a truckload of, 10 barrels of dirt, or a ton of dirt. I put it through the wash plant, and I'm going to clean it. So you can see the ironstone and stuff in it. So this is this is what we do, cleaning out the jewelry box. This is the fun part. So I put it more than in here. So the first thing I'll do, because I've got some waste here, is I'll get out all the obviously big ones. Wouldn't it be nice to find a big yellow one like that? So you can see there's some nice ironstone in there, red, look, some nice black ironstones, bit of basalt, slate, and all shift and stuff. So the first thing I do is, to make it easier, and some clinker, is I get out all the obvious stuff. So I'm just going to go through there and get all the obvious big stuff out, so that way I can get more in the sieve. So, you know, like experience, give it a shuffle up. I'll get the clay, good experience. There's a little bit of trace there, so that's a good sign. Many times, you know, you actually see a sapphire in here. I like to tip it out and see it, so you can see that's ironstone, quartz, and different types of ironstone. Look, a bit of greeny, sort of arsenic-y stuff there. So yeah, really good. So I'm quickly go through all of this. And I might even put a bit more in there. So I give it a little swirl over, and I'm about to wash this again to bring it all to the center. Look at that black stone there. See, that's a heart stopper, that one. That's like a sapphire, but that's a bit of basalt. Anyhow, so I reckon we can fit a bit more in there. So we'll put a bit more in there. And the same thing, get out all the big, or another heart stopper. One day we'll find a big sapphire like that. That's a bit of quartz, dark black, sort of a smoky quartz. It's got a lot of mineralized in it. Some mica there, which is really glitter. And anyway, same thing. It looks, now this was roof. This was again maintenance one roof, what I call the roof of the tunnel, that you have to take down for safety again. And so yes, I'm getting out all the obvious big rocks, and I'll give it a sieve up, and haven't seen anything yet, but it doesn't mean there's not anything in it. So a lot of slate, a lot of light stuff in here, because it's the roof. It's about 2 meters off the decomposed granite, and the higher up you go, the lighter the material gets. So you can see there's not a lot of heavies in here. That's a funny looking rock, that one, isn't it? Not a lot of heavy stuff in here. Now, normally it's, but there's quite a bit of ironstone in here. So give him another sieve up, and sieve up, and I think that's about ready to wash now. I'll give that a wash, and we'll tip that out. I obviously haven't seen anything jumping out at me, but anyhow, we'll go over here to the willowby. So this is a homemade willowby of my friend's. We're babysitting his house at the moment while he's going away. So the idea of this is to get all the heavies to the center. So this is an old girl, this one, but it still works, takes a bit of talent. Some big deep plunges. And water is sapphire, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been told that sapphire's 3.5 times heavier than water. Very similar, I think gold's 10 times, I'm not sure, but anyhow, what we're trying to do is move all the light stuff to the outside, which is starting to do, and all the heavy into the middle. So there's one way of testing to see if it's working, and that's just have a little peek in there. Yeah, that's sort of a lot of light stuff around the edge. So put that back on there. Make sure you get it level, or it doesn't want to work. So just this centrifugal action, and I think this thing's not really square. The whole thing of these is they've got to be completely square. They tip to one side, as you can see. But anyhow, we'll give it. There's a fair bit of material in there. It gives it a wash, but anyhow, there we go. So let's take him over to the table now. I don't think it's worked as good as some of the other willowbys. So over into the sunshine. Okay, well that's the rest of our concentrate. That's not very much, so we'll split it up now. Now that's normally where the trace is. There's one bit of trace in there, so it's not really exciting. One little piece there, but anyhow, we'll leave that to last. Right, here comes the big flip. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's the flip. Is that a big bomb? No, a big bit of quartz. Okay, you can obviously see now all the ironstone on the bottom, the top. And also I can obviously see nothing there that's jumping out at me. I've got some tweezers in a little container here, but unfortunately I can't see anything. Is that, here we go. No, that's a bit of fancy quartz with a bit of clear on it, makes it look like a bit of yellow. So normally it would be in the center, sometimes around the edges, but no, there's unfortunately. So the same thing. So start in the middle, start picking out the heavy stuff, the ironstones. You can see there's a fair bit of ironstone in it. No. And we'll put that into that bucket there, and then hoping in the middle that's where the sapphire would have found its way to the middle, but with this old willowby we don't know, so there's a lot of build up here, so we'll check around the edges. So the next thing to do is just spread it out in the sun, spread the edges out. Sorry to say that there's not anything too exciting to show there. I've got a little bit of shade as well, so I can spread that out. A lot of fine stuff over here. So black, so there's a fair, not even any real spinel in there, people. So this is not very exciting for you. There's still a little bit more to go there, but anyway, we'll spread that right out. I'm pretty sure there's nothing really jumping out at me there, so I'm keen to do the next lot. So what I always do is I let this dry out, because any yellows or zircons which are wet and they look quite shiny, can't see here, they will show up. There's another bit of that fancy quartz. They will show up when it's dry. So what I'm going to do is, there's nothing in there, I'm going to clear a spot in the middle here for the next lot, and then we'll let the whole lot dry out. So I'll put the sieve here, get it level, make sure they're always level, and then the last of it here. So the heavy stuff here, take out a couple of the big chunky ones there of the waste, chuck them in there. All right, and I will take this over here. Okay, so the same thing, there's very little in there, gives it another little wash. And you can see the light stuff heading to the outside and the heavy stuff going to the middle. It was pretty obvious, we could see all the ironstone in the bottom. There we go. Alrighty, so last but not least, back to the table. That's our empty bucket. Right, same thing. We'll split it. I always leave the trace to last. Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit more colour in there. Look, I can see a pretty little bit of blue there. So that's a good sign. Oh, very pretty little blue. Little bit of spinel. That's very pretty little blue. So there we go. There's a bit of trace. So that'll keep me on target. So even though it's a tiny little bit, it's still trace. So this one here, we'll give this a flip. So this is the heavies too. So, oh, okay. All right, well that looks better straight away. Well, can you see that? Right, this is a lot better. So come around the other side. I'll move the table out. Now, have a look at this. Happy days. All right, you come around the other side, you've got a shadow. All right, that's right, come around here. Righto, everybody, can you see that? Happy days. So, one, little sapphire. Two, oh, look at that. Now that would be a big piece of spinel, but have a look at that, people. Have a look down there. That is happy days. That's not a tweezer job. That's a dog tooth. Follow him up to the sun. Oh, have a look at that. That's it. I don't mind if I get one of them every time. That's gorgeous. That's about 5 carats, 6 carats. Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. So, oh, another bit of that bombing material. Oh, some more. Another piece there. Another bit of there. Nice starry material. Look at the gold on that. Can you see the gold flash on that? Yellow. Oh, that's very pretty. That's a yellow star. Well, it's only tiny, but that is a yellow star. That is really nice. That's a yellow star. Okay, so take out the heavy materials. Well, there we go. All in all, something pretty there. Nice little dog's tooth. That dog's tooth won't be cut. That dog's tooth, I'll just show you. There's another bit of sapphire there, low grade material. So that dog's tooth, that'll be set in a setting. That will be pinched off with a little bit of gold around it, I reckon, and that will just make a beautiful little pendant. Well, I'll polish that. I'll come out here with the light, up there in the light, and oh yeah, that'll be just pinched off into a little setting. I'll put that in there. I'll drop my tweezers. Okay, so let's have a good look in here yet. So we're going to find anything else. So the reason that was the heavy part of the bucket. So that was the first material that came into the bucket. So it was at the bottom, and then the lighter stuff at the top. So anyhow, I'll do the same with that. So let's just have a look over here. We'll move that now, and we'll put our trace on the table. So if I can, very gently, I might just pick a bit out here. I might pick a bit of that out here because it tends to bounce everywhere, so it's wet. So that a lot of that is spinel. I can't even see the sapphire that was in there before. But yeah, oh, a lot of it's a spinel. Yeah, spinel. So if we put that back up to the light, that was a bit of sapphire. And yeah, all right, so I'll flip it, but as you can see, there's only a very little in there, and it'll flip it. So let's try and get a flip. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, see how it goes everywhere. There was one bit of sapphire there, a bit of blue. Yeah, think that's the spinel. So I'll give you a tip on the spinel. There's a bit of starry stuff there. So there's another little bit there. I'll give you a little tip. Starry stuff. If you're wondering how to define the difference between spinel and titanium and sapphire, the easiest way to do it, which I'll show you, is when you put it aside, that's a bit of sapphire there, I think. When it dries flat, like flat paint. So when it's wet, it looks quite shiny, you know, because it's wet. And then when it dries up and it looks flat, looks dull. So I haven't got any big pieces in there. Yeah, well, like over here. No, there's no big pieces. Anyhow, you can see it there. There's a difference between a bit of low-grade sapphire and a bit of titanium. One looks quite flat. The titanium looks like lead pencil-y sort of thing, and then the sapphire still looks like glass. Anyhow, there we go. So that's our grand finale. This is just the trace, and yeah, not much in that. Let that dry up. It's always easy to see. You see the zircons. So back to there. So I will. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that. That was just a cleanup. There's my little pile of sapphire there. It's not a really big rewarding day, but I've got a nice dog's tooth. So like, share and subscribe, and put any comments. I got a nice dog's tooth, and that turned out, that piece there is actually a bit of spinel. You can see that is, see I was saying about how it's a really good bit of spinel. It's quite gemmy, shiny, but that's a bit of spinel. So I got a little bit of sapphire there. Yeah, a tiny little bit, probably about 10 carats. But anyhow, at least I'm finding something. And yeah. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, ciao for now, and catch you next time.